come for the main event of the evening. Please welcome the boxers as they make their way to the...
Had that unmistakable electricity that only a championship fight can create. The kind that hums through the building long before the first punch is thrown. Inside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the crowd was restless, loud, and ready. A mix of local fight fans, traveling supporters, and believers who had come to witness something they didn't yet understand was about to become unforgettable. This wasn't just another main event. This was a collision between expectation and ambition, between reputation and belief, between a champion who had never been broken and a challenger who had never stopped dreaming. As the lights dimmed and the announcer's voice cut through the noise, the magnitude of the moment settled in. 12 rounds, 1 belt, the WBC Super Lightweight Championship of the world. On one side of the ring stood a man feared across the division. A relentless force from Puerto Rico whose fights rarely went the distance and whose opponents usually left changed. On the other stood a calm, focused challenger from Sheffield, England, stepping onto American soil for the first time with everything he had ever worked for hanging in the balance. Dalton Smith's walk to the ring was measured, almost quiet compared to the storm awaiting him. He carried himself like a man who understood exactly where he was and why he belonged there. Undefeated, decorated at the domestic level, and armed with a right hand that had ended many nights early, Smith wasn't here to survive. He was here to claim something. Yet the doubts followed him like a shadow. Could he handle the pace? Could he deal with the pressure? Could he withstand the kind of violence Subriel Matias brought into every fight? Then came the champion. Subriel Matias entered the arena with the confidence of a man who had lived in this moment before, a man who knew exactly how uncomfortable he could make a fight. His reputation preceded him. 22 knockouts, a pressure style that felt less like boxing and more like a siege. Opponents didn't just lose to Matias, they were dragged into deep water and left there. His expression never changed. His body language never betrayed fatigue or fear. He walked forward, absorbed punishment, and returned it in waves. When the introductions ended and referee Ricky Gonzalez gave his final instructions, the sense of inevitability was heavy in the air. This was supposed to be Matias' fight. The challenger was brave, talented, and confident. But history suggested that once Matias found his rhythm, the outcome would follow a familiar script. What no one yet realized was that this night had no intention of following expectations. From the opening bell, Dalton Smith made his intentions clear. He didn't come out reckless or desperate. He came out sharp. His jab snapped Matias' head back. His right hand looped over the guard with precision. And for the first time in a long while, the champion found himself being cleanly outworked early. Smith wasn't throwing volume for the sake of it. Every punch had purpose, every movement calculated. He stayed composed, refusing to be rushed by the roar of the crowd or the looming presence in front of him. Matias, true to form, did not panic. He rarely did. He absorbed the shots, blocked what he could, and took small, deliberate steps forward, closing distance inch by inch. Even when he wasn't throwing, the pressure was there. Psychological and physical, a reminder that escape would not come easy. Smith won the round, but it came with a price. Every time he threw, Matias edged closer. A brick wall that refused to retreat. As the fight moved into the second round, the tone began to shift. Matias started to let his hands go, jabbing his way inside, ripping short punches to the body and head. Smith responded with movement and clinches, trying to disrupt the rhythm, leaning his weight on the champion, attempting to steal moments of rest. The crowd responded loudly to every tug, but Smith ignored them. This wasn't about pleasing anyone. This was about surviving the storm while landing enough fire of his own to make it matter. The exchanges grew sharper. Blood began to appear on Smith's face, a reminder that Matias' punches carried a different kind of weight. Short combinations from the champion landed with thudding impact, the kind that echoed even through the noise of the arena. Yet Smith didn't wilt. He fired back, uppercuts snapping through the middle, hooks finding their mark, his right hand still dangerous, still capable of changing the fight in a heartbeat. By the third round, the fight had transformed into exactly what everyone feared for the challenger disorder. Charles and Matias had dragged Smith into closer quarters, forcing exchanges where strength and endurance mattered as much as skill. The champion's punches came in clusters, relentless and punishing, while Smith's responses required increasing effort. Holding became more frequent, movement became harder, mistakes began to creep in. Still, Smith refused to break. What made the fight so compelling was not just the violence, but the courage on display. Smith was doing something he had never truly been asked to do before. He was matching pace with a man who thrived in attrition. Every round demanded more from him, not just physically, but mentally. The margin for error was shrinking, and yet he kept stepping forward, trading when logic suggested he should flee, answering combinations with combinations of his own. Matias, for his part, looked like himself. Calm, focused, methodical. His face remained unreadable, his pressure unrelenting. He took shots that would discourage others and responded with volume and precision, his confidence growing as the rounds wore on. This was his world, and he knew it. The question was whether Smith could survive long enough to find a moment of his own. As the fight crossed into the middle rounds, the brutality intensified. Blood flowed more freely. Smith's nose bled, his ear showed signs of damage, and yet his eyes remained locked on the champion. Every time Matias surged, Smith answered. Every time the champion landed a combination, Smith found space for one more punch. The pace was unforgiving, the kind that breaks fighters who aren't built for war. The crowd sensed something special unfolding. This wasn't domination. This wasn't inevitability. This was a fight balanced on courage and will, where both men were giving and taking at a level that demanded respect. Matias' combinations were fast and heavy, his body shots cruel and purposeful. Smith's right hand remained a constant threat, his heart undeniable, his refusal to yield inspiring. Then, in a moment that felt almost unreal, the rhythm broke. Matias stepped forward again, confident, relentless as ever, inviting Smith to fight. Smith responded not with retreat, but with conviction. He planted his feet, fired with intent, and in that exchange, something changed. A punch landed clean. Matias' balance shifted. The unthinkable happened. Subriel Matias went down. For a split second, the arena seemed unsure how to react. This was a man who had never truly been hurt like this, never touched the canvas in this way. Smith surged forward, sensing destiny within reach, and when Matias tried to rise, the legs betrayed him. The count continued, and history was being rewritten with every passing second. When it was over, disbelief turned into eruption. Dalton Smith, the underdog making his U.S. debut, stood as the new WBC super lightweight champion of the world. A dream realized not through safety or caution, but through courage, resilience, and a willingness to face the monster head on. In the aftermath, the emotion poured out of Smith. He spoke not like a conqueror, but like a man who had carried belief through doubt, through criticism, through moments when others said the fight shouldn't happen. He acknowledged the champion he had defeated, called Matias a true warrior, and admitted that the plan had changed mid. He had been drawn into the fire, tested in ways he had never experienced, and found something deeper within himself. He spoke of being the underdog, of hearing the noise, of choosing to cancel it out and trust his preparation. He spoke of family, of learning boxing alongside his father, of generations who had never been given anything and had earned everything. This wasn't just a title win. It was a statement that echoed back to a 6-year-old kid in Sheffield who dared to believe he could become world champion. Those around him understood the significance immediately. Promoters, commentators, and fans recognized what they had witnessed. This wasn't just an upset. It was the arrival of a new force in the division. To beat Matias at his own game, to survive the pressure and then turn it around, was something few believed possible. Smith hadn't just won a belt. He had announced himself to the world. As the celebration continued and the Smith family gathered in the ring, the story felt complete in a way boxing stories rarely do. For generations, years of work, a journey that defied background, expectation, and probability. Blood, courage, and belief had carried Dalton Smith to the top of the division. And on this night in Brooklyn, the impossible became reality. This was more than a knockout. It was a reminder of why boxing still matters, why fights are not decided on paper, and why belief, when paired with heart, can rewrite history in an instant.